So, with my little hint in the last challenge about I'm just a kid, that was, of course, the reference to today's video. Can we beat Final Fantasy X-2 using only Yuna? And sadly, no awesome intro this time since the music is copyrighted. Likewise, you're not gonna see 1000 words later either. I know, it sucks. Anyway, let's talk rules. For this run, only Yuna can be used. However, Yuna isn't available right away as she's depressed because of dressing like a cute Moogle. So, until we get to her in about 3 to 4 minutes, we're gonna allow Pain and Riku to make actions for this tutorial section. After this though, she is the only character we can make actions with. In fact, the other two won't even be in the party. Other than that, we're going to allow everything this time around. This means Yuna can use items, dress via changes, etc. There's a lot of shenanigans in this game after all, and I want it to at least have a fair shot. So, when we get to Logos and Ormi, Yuna joins us, and that means only she can make actions, which makes this take forever since she's in gunner mode. Logos is the first target since he deals a lot more damage than Ormi does. Riku eventually dies, but we manage it nonetheless. Then we get fully healed for the fight with LeBlanc. However, this is another tutorial which forces Yuna into the songstress dress sphere, and the only ability is Darkness Dance, something which does no damage and it won't let us change out of it. So, for the last time, and since it's only a tutorial, we allow Riku and Pain to attack. However, this is the very last time they're ever gonna be allowed to make actions. But first, if you want to help out the channel massively, then consider spending a little time checking out our sponsor, Stormshot. By using the link in the description and getting your stronghold to level 7, 11, or 15 respectively, you will really be helping me out. It's a fun city builder with a nice little shooter puzzle, requires no spending, and by using code VIP777, you can get a bunch of goodies to help you progress even faster. We played on stream together last night and had a huge blast with it. And now, back to my torture. So, with our ex-summoner, now even hotter pop star in tow, let's begin the run by completely ignoring the main mission of going to Gagazet. Instead, we're going to speak to Shinra, because I want the Psychic Dress Sphere, which we can get from the Monster Arena by winning the Standard Cup. Likewise, speak to Brother twice to get the Festivalist Dress Sphere, something that's going to help out in a very surprising way later. Standard Cup takes a while to do with only Yuna though, and we do have to get some levels first. But I use this chance to learn some abilities on the dress spheres. Also, completely take Riku and Pain out of the party, and, well, this is how the first attempt at the tournament goes. Eventually, we're able to kill the first easy mob using Fire Sandals, which, for a small MP cost, can either use Fire, Fire, or Fire Rigger magic. And after the fight, we get a whopping 8 EXP and 30 gil. This is gonna take a while. For Songstress, use Darkness Dance a few times each fight, then swap to Warrior to kill the mobs off. Once you unlock Sleepy Shuffle, you can just spam that over and over using potions every now and again when you need to heal, since every ability used is 1 AP. During the grind, we got a Null Shock Ring and a Null Blaze Ring. This means we're now immune to fire and electrical damage, and we can cast Fire and Fundara on any job. So let's go ahead and get the first cup beat, shall we? And it still doesn't happen. I get murdered. So I'll come back to this later when I have better gear. I just hate how weak Yuna, Riku, and Pain are in this game compared to captured monsters. And while this isn't going to be a full 100% run, thank God, it is, however, going to be close. But let's head to Gagazet and do the floating ruins. I keep Yuna in her warrior dress sphere just for the higher damage per attack. When we get to the LeBlanc boss fight, I just use Assault, which gives me haste, berserk, protect, and shell, and then let the game handle it for me. Then we have a race against the clock heading to the next boss, Boris. I use Thundiger twice, thinking it's weak to it before I remember Warrior has terrible magic stats, and so I switch to Assault and watch it die in one more hit. And with that, we are done with the prologue. In Chapter 1, there's a ton of stuff we want to get. The first of which is the key to success. Sadly, we won't get it right away, but we have to do one of the quests for it now. We have to do the Moonflow mission correctly by stopping all thieves in Chapter 1, selling all 10 tickets in Chapter 2, and then in Chapter 3 we have to leave Garrick alone. This means we can't get the mascot dress sphere later, as we'll never be able to 100% all areas. But the key is honestly more worthwhile in my opinion, even if we have to wait till Chapter 5 for it. Also, I equip the newly acquired Black Mage dress sphere to start learning abilities on that. In Guadesalam, the accessory shop has some very nice items for us. Angel earrings give death proof, gold anklet is stone proof, Kinesis badge is stop and slow proof, while mute shock is silence proof. Now, off to Mokalania we go. We want to go fight the Haze enemy by using Festive Lease to confuse the Haze and then swap over to Gun Mage, and now we just need to wait for it to cast the insanely awesome Mighty Guard on us so we can learn it. This will give us Shall and Protect when used. Now, I'm still extremely weak, and so it's time to go back to Creature Capture and max out the Black Mage dress sphere and Gun Mage. We're going to be skipping a lot of side content in this run, which also means we're gonna miss the entire difficulty curve. Instead of a nice, smooth approach, we're essentially gonna have mountain-sized spikes randomly throughout. So, let's go do Besaid. The TLDR here is Lulu is pregnant, Walker is the father, and we don't even get details on how this happened. But Walker runs off just before the baby is born because he thinks he's gonna be a bad father. Sounds about right. So, we go find some random numbers dotted around Besaid's ruins to enter a cave system, find Walker, and then fight a flame dragon boss. He's weak to ice though, and we have Blizziger, allowing us to just one-shot the boss. I'm gonna miss being able to one-shot things. After this, we get the White Mage dress sphere. Then it's off to Zanarkand, the holy place, which is now a tourist attraction. Head through to find Isaru, and then we fight a Guardian Beast. A rather straightforward boss fight considering he's weak to literally every element except gravity, and he has just 3 magic defense. So, needless to say, we nuke him with black magic. And if you expected that like I did, well, we were all wrong. I died in 3 hits. On the bright side, he was close to being dead as well. I blame the speed up there, so let's try again. And this time goes infinitely better because I dodged 2 out of 3 of his attacks. So this time we do in actual fact nuke him down. And now we can finish off Chapter 1 by heading to Killiker. The Skimpy Donna is now together with Bartholomew. Honestly, did anybody see this coming? Also, I probably shouldn't talk about others being skimpy with what Yuna and Riku wear. Anywho, it's into the forest where we have to fight some new Yevon cronies in the form of a Machina. No elemental weakness, and he has decently hard hitting attacks and really high normal defense. So we're going to go the magic route again, but once again, I get creamed. Second attempt, I swap over to Warrior to use Power and Armor Break, which don't seem to do anything. Spam a few high potions before swapping to Gun Mage to try and get Mighty God up before dying again. Third attempt, I try Festivalist and still die. He has 1935 HP, so I'm going to try for an Ultima cast run with Festivalist. I don't want to grind if I can help it, but the girls are just terrible in this game, especially when trying to do a solo character run. In the end, there's just nothing I can do to him, so I bite the bullet and do some grinding, which is painful. Really, really, really painful. I eventually beat the normal cup, which gives me the psychic dress sphere, and then grinding becomes easier thanks to telekinesis being able to one-shot most things in the game. It's just RNG. Some mobs are weaker than others to it though, so I push forward through the cups, taking death after death after death, until I unlock the Black Chandelier team, and then I farm that for some levels. I stop at level 29. Now, let's try again. And sadly, I'm still too weak. I tried Good Mage because it has an ability which lets me deal 4 times damage to Machina, and it has Mighty Guard. That was a bad mistake. But this time around, however, I do have Water Gems from Black Chandelier, which come in clutch for me. I swapped Warrior as that has more health and begin throwing Water Gems while healing. Each gem deals about 500 damage, but that crutch isn't gonna last for long. I really need to come up with a new plan for the rest of this run, or we're going to be in trouble. Now, we're in Chapter 2. Let's head to Jose and do the story requirements here. Along the way, we can pick up the floral dress sphere for Yuna. This is a very unique one. In order to activate it, we need to swap to every dress sphere on our grid. And bonus, we also get the Unerring Path Garment grid, which only has 2 slots, the lowest amount in the game. Then we have a boss fight with Ormi and Logos. Once again though, we rely on Water Gems because Yuna is still kinda meh. But now we have the Garment Grid and Dress Sphere I just mentioned, that's about to change. Firstly, throw on Thief and Warrior to this Garment Grid, then equip the Thief class since it has First Strike. And now, as soon as a fight starts, we can change over to Warrior and then instantly go into Floral mode with Yuna. And I'm not going to spoil what this does. Instead, let's just take a look at the next boss, shall we? Who just so happens to be Logos at Beaconel. And as you can see, I finally got a much needed health and damage boost now. Still not amazing, but every little helps. And as a bonus, we even have Ribbon in this form. Then, I am of course going to include the Hot Springs cutscene in this video. I know it serves absolutely nothing in terms of the challenge, but I know you're all perverts, so doing this at least earns a like and a comment, right? After that little bit, we fight Ormi, and, well, that goes the exact same way the previous Logos fight did. This dress sphere combined with the grid we had to do earlier means we can solve Chapter 2 with very little issues, thankfully, which is a nice change of pace compared to Chapter 1. So I guess now we can advance on to Ormi again. Well, right after we massaged LeBlanc anyway, which I'm absolutely not throwing in just to bribe all you perverts with, honest. And this fight goes exactly the same way as last time, only he survives a little longer. After this, it's a fight with both Ormi and Logos, and as you can see, they're starting to do a little more damage to me and surviving longer. But I mean, come on, it's Ormi and Logos. If I lost to these guys, I just need to stop doing these challenges. Also, side note, who absolutely loves Yuna's transformation outfit? Next is both of them again with LeBlanc this time. And they actually do enough damage to warrant me healing, something I wasn't really expecting until Chapter 3, and the fight took ages. But on the bright side, I at least managed to get a ton of attacks in to get some AP for the floral dress sphere, which is very, very nice. What isn't nice, however, is now we're going to my most hated part of the game, Baval. It was bad in the first game, but Baval in 10-2 is easily my #1 hated location. I don't know why. I think it looks cool. I just hate the gimmicks, I think. And there's a lot of them, sadly. Also, hey look, the Faith is gone and replaced by a giant chasm. So, of course, we jump in and happily walk it off without a single broken bone. And And remember the Machina we had so much trouble with in Kilika? Yeah, we fight them here as well. But this time, they go down super fast, letting us get to the next boss right away. And if he looks familiar and super out of place, that's because he is. I guess Square just didn't want to make a new model for this boss fight. Although, I guess it beats Ormi, LeBlanc, and Logos again. But one thing to note, however, is he hurt pretty bad. I have to heal every single turn with one of my pistols. On the bright side, though, I do learn double HP in this fight, which will be huge for us moving forward. Then, we finish the puzzle and have another Guardian fight. I have to heal right from the get-go, and I also put up regen as well. And as the fight's going on, my game decides it doesn't like me anymore and crashes. Thank God for autosave though. So thankfully we don't lose too much and can get back there pretty quickly again. Although on the second attempt, I have no idea what happened. Yuna died literally instantly, and I only noticed he used death when I checked the footage back. But the thing is, that should not have hit me. I was in the floral dress sphere, which has automatic ribbon. I should have 100% been immune to that. Although, after this point, I did look it up and realized that, oh wait, no, there's a super ribbon in this game. Anyway, third attempt, and my left pistol gets deft this time. Thankfully, though, I was still able to set up haste and regen first and do a little damage. And luckily, my right pistol is alive, which is the one with healing abilities. But because ribbon doesn't stop death, I just go full damage to nuke it ASAP. And after a few demis from the boss, we managed to take it down. But seriously, man, why can't this form have super ribbon? Why just the normal ribbon? Anyway, let's proceed onwards right into the next puzzle. After grabbing the ribbon accessory here, and in the next area, I make sure to grab the bloodlust and the ring accessory. Honestly, I'm not sure how useful they will be, but it should make grinding faster later, hopefully. And now we're on to Barreleye. And we set our usual defenses of regen before attacking away. Barreleye doesn't really have much though. He does hit a little hard and quite fast, which adds up over time. But we're still at the manageable side of things currently, especially with regen and constant access to healing. So we work him down and whittle away slowly. After this, we run back to the save point to heal and save. Now we can move on to Dark Bahamut, and this is scary. He has Impulse, which acts as a gravity-based attack which drains our health even faster than usual, and he has access to Mega Flare. So the goal here is to kill Bahamut ASAP with our usual bag of tricks. I do get hit a few times by Impulse and see Mega Flare's timer start, so I panic and put up regen and start healing a little to try and top me up in case I don't kill him before it goes off. Safety first after all. Thankfully, we kill it before Mega Flare goes off, and with that we have some nice interesting cutscenes, and Vegnagun is gone. Oopsie. So, let's start chapter 3! And while the temples everywhere are letting fiends out, we're gonna ignore them all and head off to Besaid. We want to visit Lulu and the baby, and then I suppose we can go murder another Aeon. It's nice murdering Yuna's old companions, huh? And since we now have Flare Whirl learned on the Floral Dress Sphere, we can use that. It does cost insane MP, but it does a nice 2,500 damage per use, which is insanely good for us. The downside is Dark Veilfer has Sonic Wing, which reduces our MP, so I'm only able to get 2 flares off before I have to change over to my normal whirl attack. It's around this time as well that Veilfer switches over to using Energy Ray, but this is only dealing a couple hundred points of damage to us. It's Veilfer though. Did anybody expect this to be troublesome? With that said though, let's move on to Dark Ifrit, shall we? And he has some big oofs. Hellfire and Meteor Strike. My health is getting up there a bit thanks to double HP, but Ifrit still drops me fast. But I also have Great Whirl now as well, which is like Energy Blast from FF10. It hits 11 times and deals good non-elemental damage. For me, this ends up being around 2,500, which is pretty decent all things considered, since it works out at being a quarter of his health. but even though it's a good amount, he still murders my health down really fast, and even basically opens up with Hellfire. This is the point now in which I need to start being careful with going full damage and trying to heal. And since we have more dress spheres in chapter 3, I might consider swapping over to them instead of floral, but I'm thinking my best bet is still going to be floral since it acts like 3 units, has ribbon, and can get double and triple HP. It's hard to decide though, since I lose flexibility in what my units can do, and the heal they have in general is kinda meh. We'll see how the rest of the Dark Aeons go though, while I do some other side quests. Anyway, next is Dark Ixion, and unlike an FF10, this guy is a joke, like an actual joke, and probably the easiest of them all. And if you believe that, well, you've not played this in a while. He starts off dealing a massive 4,000 damage with Aero Spark, because it's gravity based. I tried to inflict status ailments, didn't work. I set up haste and go with Great Whirl. His normal attacks are pretty weak, dealing a few hundred points. His Force Hammer hits for 700, and before I know it, I'm down to yellow health for everybody. I set up regen and start panic healing when I get dropped yet again. He has an immense 12,300 HP, which means I need about 4 Great Whirls to down him. And while panicking in case I don't manage to get the one for the kill, and when I'm all the way down to just 600 HP, we get the final Great Whirl. Things are now getting sketchy. We can get some okay equipment right now in Chapter 3, but nothing super amazing. All the good stuff comes in Chapter 5. So while we're gonna be doing bits, that's where we're going to get a nice boost. I just need to persevere and push forward for it. After the fight, Yuna also has a mental breakdown. Honestly, girl, I feel the same way sometimes. Now we do some boring stuff. Have a dancing contest where we just mash buttons and get a smooth shailing for doing that, and then head to Thunder Plains to kill a Salamander, which has 7,000 HP, give or take. Don't let this low HP fool you though. This guy is pretty damn brutal. 500 to 1,000 damage per normal attack. Immune to magical damage mean we have to deal 300 points per attack, aka we need like 24 attacks to kill him, and he has an AoE attack which deals 300 damage, and then another AoE attack which deals a massive 1,500 damage, and he is absolutely not afraid to use it. He very nearly kills me before I even set up. So I rush into haste and regen, and then start spam healing and slowly manage to get into a healthy state while slowly working him down. But then, before I can actually kill him, the game crashes again. Lovely. Thankfully with autosaves though, we lose no real progress and can jump back into it right from the cave. So let's give this another attempt, and this time hopefully without a crash. Attempt 2 goes a little better, but also a little worse. I don't manage to land darkness, and my left pistol dies, so I have to revive it. My protect wears off, and shell does more harm than good by lowering my healing. I keep going with normal attacks, watching my health just drop lower and lower and lower. Eventually, my right pistol dies as well. But at this point, I decide there's no point in reviving it because of the fact that my healing is nerfed badly. So I push forward with my unit barely on a few hundred HP left and my left pistol, and thankfully we take it down just in the nick of time. One more tail swipe would have given me a game over. One more normal attack would have given me a game over. The only thing I could have survived was Flame Breath. But hey, a fluke win is a win nonetheless, and we take those. Now, I'm sorry to say there will be no 1,000 words cutscene. I know it's my fave moment here as well, but it's heavily copyrighted. So if you want to complain, complain to Square Enix. Or maybe we should just overlay that Mimi Christmas video we made last year. It's just as good, right? Right? Well, with that anyway, we have chapter 4 complete. Now we can run around, get all the good stuff we've been setting up for with side quests throughout the game, and go for it. So, equip a key to sex and a defense bracer, and off we go. And yes, I know the key isn't going to be mega helpful, but the last bit of double EXP, more luck and HP is always nice. So, let's have us a little boss rush, starting with the ever beautiful Dark Shiva. Look, they both enjoy CBT and do things with dragons that even adult videos would call depraved. It's easy to get them mixed up. And thankfully, there's no men in the party because the ball buster comes out instantly in the form of Heavenly Strike. Another gravity-based attack that not only deals 50% of my HP as damage, but also my MP. Now, the joke's on her though. I'm not really using MP, and we have access to Great Whirl again, and while I do lose a pistol, it's not the end of the world as we nuke her down a handful of Great Whirls. The next one is the huge problem though. It's time for the sisters. Mindy has 10,000 HP, Sandy has a little more, and Cindy has 12,000. And because there's 3 of them, my Great Whirls are gonna be spread out, which is not ideal in the slightest. So, I'm gonna have to go full defense mode here, and well, the video shows exactly how that went. Like, it wasn't even close. I was nearly killed the minute the fight starts, and then it was all downhill from there. I was under 100 HP multiple times, and I just couldn't get the healing I needed. I couldn't set up any proper protection, nothing. Just an absolute murder fest, and not the kind where I'm murdering things. Now, from how that went, I know full well that I stand absolutely zero chance of winning that fight, or even the fight after with Dark Anima, which I know will be a whole lot worse, to say nothing of the final boss. Well, I try again after a bit of a grind, and while I survive a little easier, I still get absolutely destroyed. Sadly, but okay, that's fine. I didn't want to do this, but fine. It's time to rip out that stinky, smelly cheese. Previously, we leveled Dark Knight's Dress Sphere a little and pushed through the tournaments, cheesing Darkness and Alchemist to level a little and learn the abilities. At this point now, we have a Mega Cheese. Well, I say Mega Cheese, they are when paired with an Alchemist. As for on their own, without an alchemist backing them up, I guess we're about to see. So let's try this again, shall we? And we'll start with the one that I think is less cheesy. So we equip a Ragnarok from the Mihen quest and equip a Dark Knight. Now with the Ragnarok on, when we use Darkness, we won't lose any HP. And yes, I do think this is less cheesy. The reason I've been using Floral so long instead of swapping to Dark Knight is because I knew it would be a little too easy. But, well, we tried the hard way, so now I'm pushing forward. And as you can see, things go entirely differently here. They drop me to yellow health, and I do consider healing, but decide not to since we only need one more Darkness to finish the fight. Now do you see why I didn't change to this earlier? Yes, it's not quite as potent without the Ragnarok, but it's still stupidly strong. As for Dark Anima, well, I open up with a couple of Darknesses before I realized, wait, I'm an idiot! I can use the Arcane Black Sky on a single target. So that's what I do, since it deals easily 2 or even 3 times as much damage as a single Darkness does. Needless to say, Anima goes down very quickly from there. Guess I was just making this run a lot harder than it needed to be. The extra levels are helpful from the grinding, sure, but the big boost is just because, honestly, Dark Knight is just far too broken. And now we might as well finish things off since we're already at the final boss. And I have to admit, I do love the way Vegnagun looks, even if it is a giant beetle. Shame it didn't live up to its potential as a true Deus Ex Machina, given that it's completely what it is according to game lore. And of course, We also have the obligatory speech from Yuna about friendship and doing things together, etc. Nah, Yuna's all alone since Titus ditched her, but we can still save the world anyway. So, tail time, and my cockiness very nearly gives me a game over. Whoops. I start off with Black Sky and just keep using it while I watch my HP plummet. Now I rely on the hopes and dreams of children everywhere that he doesn't have enough HP to survive the Black Sky casted when I am literally one hit away from death. And turns out stealing kids' hopes and dreams pays off as the tail goes down. Well, let's move on to the leg next. I used Darkness a few times thinking I can kill the nodes. Turns out you can't, so I swap back over to Black Sky, and no, you're not seeing things with the stuttering frame rate. I'm doing this challenge on my laptop while doing my night job, and it struggles. Side note, if you're wondering why the videos have been slow lately, well, yeah, I have another job outside of YouTube now working nights. Okay, back on topic. Tail and leg is dead. Let's kill the core next. And I don't think Vegnagun liked me murdering it with Darkness and Black Sky, killing all its limbs, since it crashed the game. Time for a reset and to try again. And this time, it actually works. While he does revive an arm, it dies again right after. Riku thinks he has a plan B lined up, but I don't think he's needed a plan B since Len died. Now, on to the next phase, which also goes down in a few Darknesses and Black Skies. And then lastly, Shuyin. And while he uses Blitz Ace on us and a random world champion celestial weapon comes out of nowhere for him to kick, like, seriously, Square, I know the game is like 95% reused assets, but surely you could have made him a new attack. But after a few Black Skies, he goes down and we saved the world again. All alone! Because who needs friends? But for real, man, I'm so glad this worked. There were so many times I thought I'd have to resort to super cheesies, and there were parts earlier on in the game that were a real big struggle. And I know a lot of side quests weren't shown in the video. If I included them, the video would be 2 hours long, and Daph very likely would have killed me for having to edit them all. So apologies for that. And also super big apologies for how long it's taken to get this video out. As I mentioned earlier, I now have a second full-time job outside of YouTube, and managing the time for both along with family and IRL commitments is an absolute nightmare. Coupled with this being a super harsh challenge has left us with a bit of a gap. I promise though, future challenges won't be anywhere nearly as long of a wait. But of course, if you want to get early access to those challenges, then make sure you check out Coffee down below in the description. And by all means, please abuse the like button as much as we just did to Shuyin. And I ask, in fact, no. I demand a comment. Tell me how your week's been. And of course, subscribe if you're new. As always, everybody, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.